In a world of Johnnies, Timmies, and Spikes, we must all arrive at the win condition.
If you consider yourself a deck builder, Brawl's an excellent format.
There's definitely some interesting fissures happening. I mean, in all honesty, I don't think the card has any actual tournament value on Modern anymore.
You know, pulled our pants up, tightened our belts, and said we can handle a Stoneforge Mystic in Modern because guess what? There are answers. Hello again, and welcome back to the Win Condition Podcast, your source for lore, news, and brews in the Magic the Gathering community. My name is Sean. I'm your host. I'm joined with my co-host here, Greg. How's it going, Greg?
It's doing good tonight.
Wonderful. Well, I'll tell you what. It's been a minute since we've recorded one of these podcasts. I mean,
It's really been too long.
God, I think like November was the last time we put one out. We are sorry.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, we just wanted to let you guys know that it's just so hard with like job schedules and just being busy. So we really want to get out there and show you guys that we still do love this game. We really do. And we also want to remind you that this show is still sponsored by Flipside Gaming at flipsidegaming.com, where any order you make over $10, use that promo code WINCONDITION in all caps and save yourself 10% off your purchase, which will help contribute to future show giveaways. Yes, giveaways.
Wait, did we have a giveaway that we were going to do today?
We did. And our entrants have been waiting months to hear the results.
I know.
So we are so excited to be bringing those to you. And we've got some good ones. We got some really good submissions.
We did.
So.
Aren't we glad that Merfolk Branchwalker is still standard legal?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Well, that is, in fact, the only standard legal card that we were offering as a prize. So thank goodness we got around to it when we did. Oh, my goodness. Well, you know what, Greg? Before we really dive into it, what have you been doing in the world of Magic recently? What have you been playing?
Well, apologize. I'm eating some food.
You are eating food. So while you're eating your food and finishing your bite, I'll go ahead and just say
I
that.
finished my bite.
Oh, go ahead then.
So definitely I've been playing a lot of EDH because that's what I'm really good at.
No.
Right?
No way.
I've been talking with my friends about what they want to do in Modern. Which
Ooh.
Right now, my friends that are semi-pro players are all on the big mana Valakut.
Ooh, okay. All right.
They're feeling like it's going to be really strong. Then, of course, EDH built some new decks. Always going to build more decks, because why not?
Right. What's your favorite one of your new decks that you've built?
Brutaclad is still tops.
Brutaclad. I still haven't built my Brutaclad deck. Oh, the time just gets by me.
But yeah, playing a lot of that. Played the two-headed giant pre-release.
Nice.
Because how else do you pre-release?
I know, right? Well, I did do a pre-release by myself, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
I actually was fortunate enough to rebuild some of my Brawl decks and played against my wife, and she was rocking the Aurelia deck, and I was playing the Niv Mizzet Perun deck, and we went back and forth. She ultimately ended up winning. The Boros aggro Brawl deck that I have is pretty dang strong. I mean, it's hard to compete against just constant quick threats with backup of an angel that buffs your creatures and is a threat in and of itself. So, and then the Niv Mizzet deck is definitely instant and sorcery based. You've got your Crackling Drake, you've got your Enigma Drakes, and when Niv Mizzet hits the field, you know, you can do some serious damage. But It was a good fight. Pretty evenly based. So,
Well,
but it was a ton of fun. I absolutely love Brawl and still advocate it among everybody who plays Magic. If you get a chance, try the Build Them Brawl decks. If you consider yourself a deck builder, Brawl's an excellent format because you're constantly trying to build decks, improve upon them, and whatnot. So, wonderful, wonderful time playing some Brawl there. Anyway. Greg, why don't we jump on in to our first segment, quite popular with some of our listeners. Let's head on into Lore Corner.
That sounds very interesting.
Oh, quite interesting indeed. Greg, who do we have on the docket for coverage today?
Well, as we know, we're not going to get any real stories on Daily MTG for a long while, just because they're focusing on Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, where we're getting the primer of the realm. So they did Rakdos this week. I didn't get a chance to read it. So since we didn't get a chance to read it, we're going to talk about another new character
What do you mean new? What do you mean new?
New printed.
Okay.
From Ravnica Allegiance, and that is Teysa Karlov.
Indeed. Now, Teysa has had a printing for each respective block of Ravnica. She had the initial, Teysa Orzhov Scion. And then the second was, what was her second one?
Envoy of Ghosts.
There you go. And then her third one, Teysa Karlov.
Yep.
Just straight up.
So what did we first get to know about her when we saw her in Ravnica, the original block?
So Teysa Karlov is a high-ranking member of the Orzhov Syndicate before, during, and after the Decamillennial, and at the time of the Return to Ravnica block storyline arc. She is more than 112 years old and walks with a cane because of her lame leg. Just a little bit of background there for her. So, to dive into her history, we're going to begin with her as an advocist. So, the scion of one of the most respected Orzhov families, House Karlov, Teysa was employed as a notable advocist or law mage, with a name and reputation that preceded her until she was made a baroness of the Utvara Reclamation Zone. There, Teysa came into contact with Zomaj Hawk, who had schemes to control Ravnica, but with an assembled force of warriors recruited from various sources, including the Ravnican guilds, as well as her wealth of experience, arcane knowledge, and magic that allowed her to control a dragon.
What?
She was influential in stopping Hawk, and in return gained her the respect of the inhabitants of the area and consolidated her power and authority. Later on, Karlov was called upon by Feather as her advocate and entangled in the Nephilim attacks and the events surrounding the disappearance and subsequent return of the Parhelion. Oof. That's a lot of words to digest right there. And
you know what the Parhelion is, right?
Why don't you educate us on what the Parhelion is?
It was the Great Hall where the Boros Angels of Ravnica resided.
Oh, of course.
It was going to be a skyship, and to find out about Ravnica's planeswalker visitors who stopped coming, but that stopped. Wow, there's a lot here. It came to be known, it was rebuilt as the Parhelion 2 and became the Response Garrison, a flying fortress.
Huh. Interesting.
There's some definite interesting information there.
Right, and then just to kind of backtrack a little bit, talking about Zomaj Hawk, who we mentioned earlier, he was arguably the most demented mage lord of the Izzet on Ravnica in recent history. His brilliance and obsession with himself were rivaled perhaps only by his guildmaster Niv Mizzet. Within the last few years, he hatched a scheme that, if it worked, would have devastated an enormous amount of the cities of Ravnica.
Wow.
So
Talk about crazy.
Quite a crazy cat, that Zomaj Hawk, yes.
So after all that happened, she became the Grand Envoy. So after the breaking of the Guild Pact and the death of Millennial, Teysa was intimately involved in the drafting of a new non-magical Guild Pact for the peace, order, and good government and relations of Ravnica, and has been made the first and only Grand Envoy of the Orzhov Syndicate, thereby becoming the official speaker and ambassador for the Guildmaster, the Obsidat.
Good
After
for her.
that, she stages a coup.
Ooh.
Not satisfied with the position, she's conspired with the Boros Knight, Tajik, to remove the Obsidat from power, tricking the living Guild Pack, Jace,
Yes.
in providing her with the means to enter the Obsidat's chamber. She almost retrieved the final evidence of the financial corruption of the Obsidat. In the end, she was foiled by her ghostly grandfather and stripped of her office of advocate and Grand Envoy by the Ghost Council.
What?
That's why she was stuck into prison.
Yep. Poor Teysa, just getting locked up by her relatives. Ugh, that's terrible. So, and then she was awaiting her time. And Teysa remained in prison for a long time because the Ghost Council was extorting corrupt officials to make sure they kept her locked away. Little corruption there. At the same time, she was magically kept alive to prevent her from becoming a ghost. Oh my God.
Wow.
Thanks to the efforts of her apprentice, Tomik Vrona, she had been able to keep abreast of the events in the outside world. With the ascension of Kaya as head of the Orzhov Syndicate after killing the Obsidat, Teysa was freed and reinstated as the most powerful oligarch of the guild, second only to Kaya herself, of course. She patiently awaits further events.
And as we already know in a lot of this, her and Kaya are working together, but she's definitely biding her time to get Kaya out of the picture.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is really interesting. I know I haven't talked about it with you. There's more to talk about.
Okay. Well, I also just find it interesting how Kaya, earlier on in Conspiracy 2, we learned she assassinated Brago,
right,
who is a ghost, and now she's on Ravnica assassinating the Obsidat, more ghosts. So anytime you see ghosts popping up in Magic, there's a chance that Kaya's going to show up and kill them, which is very interesting.
Yeah. So did you notice in Ravnica Allegiance that each guild essentially had two different characters that are against each other? So, like, you have Lavinia and Dovin. You have Kaya and Teysa.
Okay.
You've got, the Boros is all Boros. Or not Boros, Gruul. Simic has Vannifar and Zagana at Wits.
Oh, okay. We might have to dive into Zagana next time.
And then Rakdos is Rakdos. So Rakdos and Gruul are cool, but the other three seem to be kind of split or divided, just like we had in Izzet. Just like we have in the Golgari.
Uh-huh.
So there's definitely some interesting fissures happening.
Indeed. And obviously, like you were saying, with the Gruul and Rakdos, the more chaotic groups, we have just people sort of existing. I mean, Judith and Rakdos are both just there to have a party and just kill anything in their way.
Oh, yeah.
And then Gruul, you've got Domri and who is that centaur guy?
Nikia. Of the old ways.
Of the old ways. There you go. So Domri seems to be a little younger, a little newer. Maybe they'll become at odds at some point. But that's an interesting point you brought up. I like that in terms of some speculation and lore within the Ravnica plane. So,
while we're here on Lore Corner, did you see that artwork for War of the Spark?
I did not. Why don't you tell us about the artwork for War of the Spark?
So if you've noticed your tokens from Ravnica Legions, they always advertise the next set on it. Well, the artwork for War of the Spark has Liliana and Gideon back to back, while Gideon is wielding the Black Blade.
What? No. Oh my God.
You better look this up.
Well, what I did also notice was on the card Emergency Powers, you have the Bolas horns in the hands of Dovin, an Azorius planeswalker.
Mm-hmm.
So I am just patiently waiting the third Ravnica set here because we don't know the name. We don't know much about it.
It's War of the Spark.
It's called War of the Spark?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that makes so much more sense now. Because when Nicol Bolas shows up on Ravnica and you have Jace coming back, unleashing all his newfound powers, and then you're going to have Vraska, who's going to have her memories hopefully returned to her, unless something really random happens. I am so excited.
Not to mention that the Erstwhile have been awoken.
Yes. Do extrapolate.
Well, if you remember dealing with the Mazarek story a little while back, they were searching for the caverns of the Erstwhile.
Yes.
Which is the old Golgari guild put to rest. So essentially, what we're looking at is what happens when Hela in Thor Ragnarok goes to... she goes back home and awakens her army. It's essentially the same idea. Vraska is awakening the Erstwhile to fight against Nicol Bolas.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right.
Is what it feels like.
If you've got Liliana back-to-back with Gideon, then obviously she has broke her ties with Nicol Bolas because Gideon is definitely anti-Nicol Bolas. Unless they somehow manage to get control of him through the Black Blade. But I don't know.
It is a life drinker.
It is a life drinker, so anything is possible, and we will just have to wait and see what happens through the story of the third set of Ravnica. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Oh, I can't wait. All right, so we will stray away here from Lore Corner onto our next segment that we like to call As Foretold.
What? You got news and announcements?
So here in As Foretold, we like to go over our news and announcements for, or at least since we've last talked to you, which have been 3 months. So we have quite a bit to talk about, but we picked a couple highlights that were really intriguing to us. And we'd like to start out with the most recent edition of the banned and restricted announcement. Greg, what happened this last time when they made the announcement for the banned and restricted list?
Wizards decided they didn't like to see games going to 30 minutes and then a draw.
So they banned Second Sunrise because eggs was a problem, right? Or wait, no, that wasn't it.
I mean, it was, but not anymore. Although this deck almost works the same way as that deck did.
The second coming of eggs, yes. A.K.A.
It's Clark Clan Ironworks.
Yep.
Because that card, being the fact that its sack an artifact as a mana ability, is busted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if you go and read the article as to why this card was banned specifically, it's very intriguing because Clark Clan Ironworks, a.k.a. KCI, that's a lot of acronyms there, I apologize, was a very, very complicated deck, not to mention very uninteractive. But it took advantage of things like priority and speed of mana abilities that a lot of players who might not be as versed as, say, Sam Black or who was the one who brought the deck to light? It was
I don't remember.
Stark, I think. No, Matt Nass. Sorry,
Matt
Nass was the first one to play KCI.
He won events back to back with the deck too.
That's right. And so the nuance included within the interactions in this deck make it very hard for players to understand unless they really, really study and know the deeper meanings of all these rules. So anyway, and not to mention the fact that you could win with this deck on, what, turn 3, turn 2?
Yeah, but you'd win that early, and it would take you a half hour to play it out.
That's true. That's true. It involves a lot of looping using your graveyard, a lot of just unnecessary. Unnecessary is a term that
There's
use very
too
loosely.
many actions.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then there was some talk about, in order to nerf KCI, you'd want to ban a card like Ancient Stirrings. But ultimately, decks like Tron that use Ancient Stirrings and other such decks, I'm assuming like Hardened Scales or something like that, would really, really see a huge setback if you were to ban a card like Ancient Stirrings. So in order to just eliminate this one problem, they banned KCI, and in my opinion, they banned the right card. I think that they really, really knocked this one out of the park, because not only was it creating a large presence in the competitive tournaments, people who were to play Modern at their LGS or anywhere else would be a little intimidated seeing somebody run this deck and not really know what's going on. So it was just all around a good move to ban Cart Clan Ironworks from Modern. So also on the back of this, there were some people calling for an unban of certain cards.
There were.
Like Stoneforge Mystic. Greg, what's your take? What do you think would happen if they were to unban Stoneforge Mystic? Would it be the end of Modern? Would it be like when they unbanned Jace and he just ruined the format?
Definitely. No. I mean, in all honesty, I don't think the card has any actual pertinent value on Modern anymore. Whether or not that's true, that's not my decision. But it has no value. It doesn't do anything worthwhile for Modern. It's just mediocre.
I mean, yeah, let's talk about this here. If you were to go turn 2, you play your Stoneforge, or let's even go you Simian Spirit Guide it into play on turn 1.
Ooh,
okay, so
cute.
Turn 1, you Stoneforge Mystic. Turn 2, you activate its ability and you put your Batter Skull out into play. Because what equipment is worse than Batter Skull to be put into play, right?
Skull Clamp?
No, not with a turn 1 Stoneforge. Get out of here. You're never going to use that Skull Clamp for any kind of value whatsoever. So if you were to play your Batter Skull on turn 2, you have a 4/4 lifelinking Vigilance creature on turn 2. Okay, that's pretty ridiculous. But there are definitely cards in the format that are equipped to handle this now. Like get out of here. You got Dismember. You got Path to Exile. You've got, what is that? The flashback artifact destruction spell.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
Ancient Grudge.
Ancient Grudge. Thank you. So, in my opinion,
Nature's
Claim, sure. There's so many answers to Batterskull that I think it's time we pulled our pants up, tightened our belts, and said we can handle a Stoneforge Mystic in Modern, because guess what? There are answers. There are sideboards. There are ways to deal with this.
I think at this point how Wizard just sees it is, why? There's just no reason to unban it.
I mean, why not just give us our toys? I mean, they unbanned other cards, and they were fine. They unbanned Thopter Sword, and guess what?
Maybe,
the only way that was effective was in a KCI
of it for
deck.
something like Helm of the Host.
Helm of the Host in Modern?
I don't know.
What? I mean, if you were to fetch a Helm of the Host with Stoneforge Mystic, what are you going to do? Make multiple Stoneforge Mystics and fetch multiple equipment so that on turn 5 you can sneak in another equipment? No.
Whoa. That's Pure Steel Paladin would be really strong in a deck like that.
I guess.
I mean, there could be something there.
Stronger than humans,
I'm not saying it's stronger than humans at all.
Spirits.
No.
I mean, come on. You gotta
Nor is it better than Valakut. I don't think it's worthwhile. I think they're just like, what? There's no reason to unban it. Who cares?
I think they're just sticking it to the people who were speculating on Stoneforge Mystic getting unbanned, buying up all the copies when they're quote unquote cheap. They're probably just being like, yeah, we're gonna show them. We're not gonna unban this thing. Are you kidding me? Get out of here.
Probably. It could be that.
You know what it is. You know what it is. It's the upcoming return to battle for return to Zendikar when Core Tribal is going to be OP, and they don't want Stoneforge Mystic to be a part of this modern deck. That's got to be what it is.
Maybe.
Right? Am I right? Ugh. Anyway, all right. So and then what about Splinter Twin? What about Splinter? There's a lot of people.
That's still banned, but that deck's busted.
Hashtag unban Splinter. So what? So you can win on turn 4?
No, that deck is not a turn 4. There's a reason why Simming Spirit Guide is worth so much.
No, well, after its reprint, it was definitely tanking. But okay, all right, yeah. I mean, it's a blue deck, so you have your counter spells, you have your remans, and you have your other mana leaks. But I don't know, man. I just feel like there needs to be a little bit of revisiting of old cards. Give them a chance. I mean, look at Golgari Grave Troll. They gave it a chance. It came back, and then they banned it because guess what? It was too much.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you really need to give cards a
Dredge
chance.
6 is really good.
No, it is. It is. Absolutely. But
and maybe they're afraid of, like, some card, one of the swords coming out, to just completely block off a deck. I mean, it gives people better answers.
Sure, yeah, I could see that. But it's like, in all honesty, why not just give people a chance to see how it goes, let it go for maybe a couple of months, and if it is that bad, then just reban it. Who cares?
Wizards doesn't want to deal with that. That's why. I mean, have you... this is something that I bet I haven't talked to you about, so it's going to be a surprise. Have you seen how many Ravnica Allegiance Mythic Editions have sold today?
No, I have not.
Last time I checked a couple hours ago, it was only 800.
Huh. Well, you know what happened with the first Mythic Edition set when they released it. Mm-hmm. I mean, the prices on that thing just skyrocketed. What was it, $250 to buy in at the first time? And
I was looking at that time, and I see that people were selling it for $700. It looks like it is sold out now.
The most recent one?
Theirs. Nope. I'm sorry. They're still selling them at $250. They're at a 2.5 stars right now. They have currently sold... Trying to find that.
Isn't Dak Faden part of this set too?
Yeah.
That's just stupid. That card's going to be worth so much money.
Oh, okay. They've sold 1,002.
Okay, that seems pretty good.
Oh, they made last that I heard 100,000.
Oh my gosh.
Or even 10,000. They've only sold a tenth.
Yep.
It just goes to show you how little, like, yeah, there's interest in it, but nobody wants these cards.
Well, that's kind of...
There's only 2 cards here that are worth getting. And that's your Tameo, and that's your Karn. And the Karn, not as much. The Mentor of Heroes is stronger.
People I think Dak Faden's worth getting too. You got your commander players and you've got vintage players who would pay for it.
It's not that high.
Not right now.
No.
Not when it just came out. I mean, look at Teferi from the original Mythic Edition. That card is so... That card.
But then again, Teferis are also $50 non-foil from Dominaria right now.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So...
Well, right now, once he rotates out of Standard, I think it'll fall a little bit, but he is played in Modern, so he won't fall that much. So, okay. So, yeah, Mythic Edition, I think that this is a fair substitute for the would-be Masters sets that come through. What are your thoughts on that?
Sure. I think I like this better than Masters, but I also feel like it's not what we're looking for.
It is only Planeswalkers, too. They haven't made, like, Mythic Edition creatures or Mythic Edition artifacts or
honestly,
anything like that.
I feel this is a variant on from the Vault more than Masters.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can see that. But I think that with Wizards' shift away from Masters sets, they are gonna need to find another way to cash grab, because ultimately that's kind of what these Masters sets were. And with the introduction of premium product, specifically as a standalone, I think that's a good opportunity for people who really want these expensive cards to get them, and people who don't, who might just want regular old reprints. Maybe they'll produce a different set that's not a Masters set, but
I think what we're going to end up happening is the Commander sets are going to be reprint central.
But where are you going to reprint Liliana of the Veil? Where are you going to reprint Snapcaster Mage? Where are you going to reprint Tarmogoyf? Where are you going to reprint Chalice of the Void? Like, these are cards that in Modern are very important, and up until now have only had reprints in the Masters sets, which charge you a premium. I mean, are they going to start making sets that are a fair, normal cost for boxes and packs, but still include Modern staples and just have them as ancillary products? No?
No.
Well, then these cards
we have to wait and see, though.
Yeah, then if that's, they'll have to find a way, because other than that, if they don't, then Liliana of the Veil is going to be a $200 card before long. And it's going to be just, it's going to start pushing into legacy range. How much are you going to be willing to spend to play competitive Modern? $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000? I don't know, but
where does it stop?
It's a sanctioned format. It's broadcast on Twitch, on GPs, Star City Games. All these places are having Modern tournaments, and if that becomes economically unattainable, then it could go the way of Legacy. It could go the way of Vintage. And the way things are moving nowadays, it could happen sooner than we think. So
Sure.
I don't know. I hate to be all doom and gloom about it, but
you are doom and gloom.
I really feel like I am, but in reality, I love when they do reprints. I just wish they did them at a more affordable price point than the Master sets. So, but anyway.
I agree with that.
That was all a tangent brought on by us talking about the banned and restricted list. Let's move on to another topic that we found kind of interesting. There was another ban that was made, but it wasn't a card.
No, it was totally a permaban.
It was a permaban. It was a player.
And these really don't come too often. This is why we want to talk about it, because before we get to the name, permabans pretty much. It's rare to get more than one or two a year. And we're talking from a player base of a few million players.
Yep.
So I just want to drive it out to you guys there listening to us. This is why we want to talk about this, because when it happens, I don't want to say it's an occasion, but it is.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it just goes to show that cheating in Magic is a zero tolerance thing, and this guy, his name is.
Well, I got to take this back from you. It's not zero tolerance. People tend to get their chances. I mean,
okay,
you get a couple chances, and then you're gone.
Maybe zero tolerance isn't the right way to do things. Yes, but if you are caught and you receive a ban of, let's say, a couple of months, and you come back and you do it again, then chances are it's going to be worse. But this guy here has now received a lifetime ban for multiple instances of cheating. Not only that, but
it wasn't from just Magic either.
Go ahead.
He also got it for Pokemon as well.
No way. He plays Pokemon?
No.
Wow.
But being the fact Magic, Hasbro, who owns Magic, also owns Pokemon, they just wanted to say, we don't want to see you at our tournaments anymore.
Wow.
Period. I'm surprised they didn't go with the Transformers TCG, but at this point, that doesn't have a competitive following, or Duel Masters. Duel Masters, though, the competitive following is definitely out of the country.
I think he just got banned from all Jihad tournaments as well.
Whoa.
I
Really?
mean, that goes way back to
wow.
94, 95?
I mean, he might not even be able to play Warlord anymore.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Anyway. So Alex Bertoncini has finally reached his last straw in terms of cheating.
Yeah.
Specifically, he cast Ancient Stirrings, which is a sorcery for 1 green that says, look at the top 5 cards of your library, and you may reveal a colorless card or a land card from among them and put it into your hand. He chose to reveal Hardened Scales, which is a green card, which is not searchable with Ancient Stirrings.
Yeah.
And after the judges did a little investigation, they realized that this was very intentional. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was cheating, not for the first time, and as a result has received a lifetime ban from Wizards of the Coast. I think that this is a great move because in competitive, high-level Magic, very public Magic, showcased on Twitch, they need to make sure that cheating is not accepted at all. And they want to promote an environment where people can feel safe when they come and play, that their opponents are going to be playing the game according to the rules. I mean, that just makes sense.
It'd be nice if that was completely true.
Right? And I'm sure that's not going to eliminate all cheating in the game, but it's a step in the right direction to show that if you are caught, you will be dealt with accordingly. So good on you, Wizards, for making that happen.
Making a good choice for once.
All right.
That's why we play the game, right?
Yeah, exactly. So last little bit of news that we wanted to talk about here was the growth of MTG Arena. So if you haven't heard.
And alternatively,
yes, the slow death of Magic Online.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
You were loved, and you will be missed. But there is a future in the digital age, and that is MTG Arena. So currently only supporting Standard, but I'm sure within due time it will support other formats as well. So there are people who are streaming on Twitch who are receiving thousands of viewers, which is great for Magic. It's great for Twitch. And it's just great for gaming in general to see a trading card game have a digital product where it's physical as well as digital and be so successful.
Yeah.
I know we've had Hearthstone pretty much owning the electronic TCG player market.
Oh my gosh, is it? It's huge. They have so many people playing Hearthstone. As a matter of fact, most Magic pros play it too.
There you go. And there was so much buzz about this new game called Artifact. And a lot of pro players were saying that they were going to go and play Artifact because it was an esport that was, potentially going to have a lot of money in it. And it was created by the same guy who created Magic. So there was a lot of excitement behind it. But now.
Wait, you mean Keyforge?
No, I don't mean Keyforge.
Because Garfield didn't make Artifact.
He was part of the design team.
Really?
Artifact. Oh, yes.
I did not know that.
Really?
Nope.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, no, Richard Garfield definitely had all his hands in the development of Artifact. And it was touted as a game.
All his hands, huh?
Yep. As more complex than Magic the Gathering. And it is. It's like Magic meets League of Legends, where you're playing 3 decks at the same time against your opponent who's playing 3 decks at the same time. Yeah. If you've ever played Emperor as a multiplayer format in Magic, that's what Artifact is, but it's one person playing all 3 decks.
That's
which is
insane. That's insane.
So if that's your thing, go and check it out. But if it's not, if you really like Magic and you like esports, well, guess what? MTG Arena is here, and it looks like it's here to stay. So
Yeah, it does. It does.
If you haven't already jumped on board, go and check out MTG Arena, and I cannot wait for them to release it for the Mac or iOS or anything that I can play it on.
It's like somebody is aching to play. Sadly, the laptop I sent you, I know, won't play it.
Yeah, that's okay. But the ache is real, to echo what you were saying. I cannot wait to get my hands on that. All right. So let's close out our news and announcements segment and head on into one of my favorite segments. And that is, wait, Greg, why don't you bring us there? Where are we going now?
Oh, we're going to the end phase.
We're going
to the Brewmaster's lair. I had to mess with you. I'm sorry.
Oh my God! And you know what? I was expecting that. I definitely. Oh God! All right. Anyway, so here in the Brewmaster's Lair, we like to talk about brewing decks, kind of any sort of specific interactions or cards that we're interested in. And this last weekend, we had an opportunity to play in the pre-release for Ravnica Allegiance.
Whoa, wait,
Greg,
whoa! You made it to your local store?
I did.
And played in a pre-release?
For the first time since the pre-release for Dominaria.
I don't believe this.
I swear to you. I was there in person, and it was fantastic. We had 85 people show up for our pre-release.
Wow, 85. That's huge.
It was pretty amazing. It was awesome. And I finished in the top 10. Not the top 8,
what?
but
How
the
many
top
rounds
10.
did you guys play?
We only played 4. But I finished 3-1, which was awesome. And based on my record, I earned myself a pretty good prize. But my deck that I played was actually quite fun. It was my promo card that I opened because I signed up late, and they gave me my guild. I didn't get to choose, but they gave me an Orzhov guild pack. My promo card was a Teysa Karlov, and I also opened a Judith. So those two together have some silly interactions, especially when your deck is chock full of creatures with Afterlife. So I was doing things like, playing my Afterlife creatures, protecting myself early in the game, stalling out the board, and when my early creatures would die, I would have that card. I forget what its name is, but it has a spectacle cost of 1 and a black, and it says return 2 creatures
Dead
from
Revels?
the graveyard. That's it, Dead Revels. And I was able to return 2 creatures from my graveyard to my hand. Each time they were creatures that had Afterlife that I'd already gotten my spirits for. So talk about value. And there's that other, oh my God, I should have looked up these cards before I came here. There's the Aristocrat that is a white and a black for a 2/2. You can tap 1, sacrifice a creature to give it indestructible and menace, I believe, until end of turn. And that was actually clutch in dealing with one of my opponent's creatures that had hexproof. He went ahead and attacked with this hexproof creature. I was able to sacrifice one of my creatures, giving my other creature, Death Touch. It gets Death Touch, that's right, and indestructible.
Yeah.
And blocked his hexproof blue creature. It's that one that creates the 0/2 whatevers, and I killed it. Yeah,
oh my God, Mesmerizing Benthid. That thing's sweet.
That thing is amazing, and I was able to take it down because he attacked into my creature that I then blocked and killed it.
You're like, surprise.
Exactly.
Have some fries.
God. But yeah, overall, I mean, Teysa's ability to double effects when creatures die, and Judith's ability to deal damage when creatures die, coupled with Afterlife, made for a super fun deck and I had so much fun. And like I said, I went 3-1, and I lost to a very, very, very aggressive aggro Rakdos deck that had Judith as well. But it was fun. My mana base was surprisingly good for a Mardu deck, drafting a lot of gates. I'm sorry, in my sealed pool, I should say, a lot of gates, as well as the one that is basically a Rupture Spire.
Oh, yeah. The I know what you're talking about. It's not a bad card either.
Yeah, no. So, but yeah, super
Gateway
fun.
Plaza or something.
Gateway Plaza. There you go.
I think.
Yeah, or maybe that's the rare. I don't know.
It's one of those.
But either way, so that was my single player individual account of it. And as well, also, I got to mention, I talked to a lot of players about Brawl. And believe it or not, nobody that I talked to knew what Brawl was. So I don't know if it's a question of exposure. I don't know if it's a question of just, lack of support in terms of ancillary product. But these people who are very competitive, a lot of limited players as well, really started to perk up at the idea of building a Brawl deck. I mean, EDH has you can buy old cards that are super expensive and make busted EDH decks. Standard and Modern, you got to buy 4 of each card that are super expensive. And Brawl is just sort of an affordable way to play games that have a lot of variance, but also have powerful cards. So if you're out there and you like Brawl, let us know. Send us an email, drop us a tweet, whatever you want to do, because we're out there. And,
you're out there.
I'm out. Hey, Brawl lives matter, okay? I'm just here saying Brawl is an awesome format. But anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to draw on for too long. I know. Greg, tell us about your pre-release experience.
So as I think I said at the beginning, I played a two-headed giant event.
You did.
And me and my partner Andrew, you guys have heard on the cast before, we chose to play Gruul and Simic as our seeded packs. Because, it seemed like a good way to play. Gruul has a good aggro, Simic has some good control, and most of the good cards for those colors are, of course, in the common uncommon slot. And the rares are just stronger.
Yeah.
So we ended up playing. He played a Jund aggro deck with great removal on the top end, but not a lot of big creatures. And I ended up playing, he had a couple big creatures. Like there was a Siege Behemoth and some other stuff. It was fun. And I played Band Control. Because I got 2 Absorbs. I got a Hallowed Fountain.
Oh, wow.
I got the Replicate spell, split card for Simic. There was some good stuff in there.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. There was a couple games where it came close to where we would almost lose. But, of course, the most clutch card in this limited environment is Ill-Gotten Inheritance.
Oh my God, that card is so good. That's another card I lost to in that guy's Rakdos deck. It was stupid. Yep.
I don't know what is better than that card. I haven't come across it yet. It suffice to say.
It's like a 2-point life swing every single turn. It's amazing.
Yeah. If not more, even.
So just to let you guys know what this card does, it is an enchantment that says at the beginning of your upkeep, is it target opponent or each opponent?
Each.
So
in Two-Headed Giant, it's deal 2 damage, gain 1 life.
Yes, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. And then you can also, correct me if I'm wrong, tap 2 generic and 2 black, and sacrifice it, and you gain 4 life and
deal 4 damage to an opponent.
So as soon as you get your opponent into that 4 life range, they're dead. You just kill them. It's stupid.
Oh, it's so crazy. Good. I think we did that 2 times at least.
Oh,
and we definitely dream crushed a couple people.
Dream Crush.
Oh, yeah.
That should be your created card. Oh, man. But
yes,
then also...
it might destroy a target card.
I thought it would be like destroy target player.
Oh, no. You take the card and you take it outside and you rip it up.
Oh my God.
And the
Blaster
errata
Lotus?
and the errata says you replace the card.
Chaos confetti? I mean, okay, so
sort of. It's like destroy target card.
Yep.
You have to replace it as the errata. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Silver
All right.
bordered. Anyhow.
So Greg, I wanted to bring up an interaction that you were talking about earlier that is very interesting and could potentially be very real in this standard environment. There you go. Environment. So talk to us a little bit about Hydroid Crisis and Angrath the Marauderer.
Well, everybody's been talking about Hydroid Crisis being the new card to play because it's gain X half, draw X half, and it's an XX flying trample. It's really good. But it just so happens that it is also a true drop on the battlefield. Angrath's negative ability, first one, allows you to gain control of a creature with CMC 3 or less. So Angrath may be seeing more playability because of the fact that it can give you their Hydroid Crisis for the win.
And also, it is a Rakdos card, and given the recent influx of Rakdos cards in Ravnica Allegiance, I think that's going to be a pretty prominent deck archetype to use, considering there's also a lot of variance in Standard nowadays.
There really is.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, with many competitive tournaments to come, and this being a new Standard with a new set introduced, there's going to be so much potential for new decks. And with Rakdos being so prominent, I agree. I think that Angrath will definitely see a little bit more play. And you're right. If people are migrating towards Hydroid Crisis, then Angrath will definitely be able to steal those suckers day in and day out.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
So exciting.
Yeah.
It's just really funny is all to me.
We love fun interactions.
We do. We really do.
Yeah.
Especially when it gives us advantage.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Totally. All right, Greg. Well, I think it's been long enough. 3 months has been a long time in waiting.
Yeah.
But here we are at the steps of our most recent contest.
We are.
We reached out to y'all, and y'all responded, and we picked 3 cards that we felt were the 3 worthy ones of receiving our prizes, which we will review after we go over the cards too. So, Greg, do you want the honors of doing the number 3 card?
Before we get to that, we wanted to have a little fun. We did this a little while back, where we each designed a card that we thought we would like to see and play with.
Oh, we're going to do this first. Okay.
Hey, I see no reason why we have to give them the juicy bit first.
Okay. All right. Well, we love the idea of card design and designing our own cards. And while we're not Wizards employees, we definitely love throwing ideas around and saying, hey, wouldn't this card be cool?
It would be cool. And before we get into it, there's all sorts of interesting things to talk about with card design. Like, for instance, you can always call something shock.
Sure.
But they gave shock such a simple text so early in the game, a lot of people were really hesitant about it because it wasn't as good as it could be.
Sure. I mean, you had lightning bolt floating around.
Exactly. So they robbed themselves of the ability to use these. So now they start naming cards representative of a character in the set. Like, for instance, Kaya's Wrath.
Yep.
It is Kaya's Wrath. It's not a Wrath of God. It's Kaya being upset. So there's a lot of interesting things like that. So with that, we wanted to bring up our cards. And first, I'll let you go, Sean.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Unless you want me to go first. You want me to bring up my guy first?
Yeah. Go for it.
So when I started working on this card, I originally was going to call it Snapping Thicket. But I decided to call it Azuri's Snapping Thicket just to flavor it a little bit more. So it is a 3 GG, so 3 green creature elemental. Nothing too great, nice and simple. It has Riot, and whenever Snapping Thicket attacks, look at the top 4 cards of your library and put one to your hand. Or put a creature into your hand, and then the rest go on the bottom of your library in a random order.
There you go.
And it's a 3/3. Nice and simple. It allows you to have something that can go surprise. It allows you to have a bigger creature, but it also gives you that temporary kind of card draw.
So in essence, you're paying 5 mana for a 3/3 potentially with haste that can then attack and draw you a creature card.
Right.
That's really good.
Paying 5 for a 4/4 that when it attacks, it can draw you a creature.
True. Very true. I like it.
And yeah, I always feel green needs to put more cards in its hand, so.
And I love that it's on the attack trigger instead of when it damages your opponent, because sometimes it doesn't always go as planned, but as long as you're attacking with it, you get that bonus.
So here's something that you bring up interesting here. So I would have typed this creature at an uncommon. I don't think it's strong enough to be a rare, but it's a bit rulesy to be a common. But if I had changed it to where it's when this creature deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 4 cards, and then put a creature from among them into your hand, and then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. That's definitely a common because it requires you to connect.
Yeah, or uncommon, I would say.
I don't know. I still feel that's kind of common territory, but
yeah, okay.
Maybe it didn't have Riot.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it does have a lot going on, but that definitely seems like a good and plus with it being Azuri's Snapping Thicket, you were premising that on the fact that you wanted a character who is building a large army.
Exactly,
so to speak.
Exactly. And
so
mean, we could have also typed it instead of getting you a creature, it could get you maybe 2 of a specific tribal type or something like that, so it plays into the character more. And that way it's a more tuned card. So there's a lot of ways I could have done it. I like it this way because it seems simple enough. It's fun. It's playable wherever you want it. It does something in most formats.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even EDH.
Even EDH, indeed. Yep. Okay, so I'll move on into the card that I designed here. So going along with the naming of it, I created a card. Again, I love artifacts and I love recursion. So here we go. This is Brea's Zeppelin. So for 2 mana, you get a 2/2 flying Thopter, essentially, or Zeppelin, whatever you want to call the creature type. All right, so get ready for some words here. When Brea's Zeppelin dies, exile it with a return counter on it. During your upkeep, remove a return counter from a card named Brea's Zeppelin you own. During any end step, if there are no return counters on a card named Brea's Zeppelin, return that card to the battlefield under your control. So, on its surface, it's a 2/2 flyer that when it dies, you have a counter. During your turn, you remove the counter. At the end of your turn, it comes back. Kind of cool. But when it gets exiled, if there are no counters on it, it'll come back at the end of any turn. So, if you were to, say, cast Surgical Extraction on your Brea Zeppelin when it's in your graveyard, all 4 would come back at the beginning of the next end step. I mean, it's only a 2/2 flyer, but I love the idea of having it be somewhat abusable, as well as being an artifact, as well as having it have some recursion at its base. So that's my card that I came up with, Brea's Zeppelin.
Other cool things about this card is, let's say they were to print it in the standard set where Settled Wreckage is still legal.
Right.
It means that exile effect doesn't get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. So it would definitely sort of want you to destroy it instead or no, when it dies you remove it from. That's right. Yeah. So exile effects like Seal Away and stuff wouldn't be as effective.
But other things that I would have to bring up having it be that good for some of the exile effects like that, may need to have it cost a little bit more. So maybe like a
Sure.
4-drop 2/2. It doesn't
Yeah.
make it super strong, but it makes it playable still.
Right. Yeah, 2 mana, 2 colorless mana for a 2/2 flyer is pretty powerful. So
Yeah.
I think if you were to bump that up to a 3 or even a 4, yeah, that would be good because yeah, that that would definitely be a little too powerful. But yeah, again, artifacts and recursion are my home. I love it. I loved Sharoom when she was printed in Alara, and so that kind of started my love affair with artifacts and recursion. But anyway, so we created our fun little cards here. So we hope you enjoyed that. But now
We're going to talk about your cards.
yeah, exactly.
And we're going to go from the bottom to the top with our
Yep.
number 3 pick. This is done by Chris Smith. His card name is Niv Mizzet's Revenge. It is a 2 generic blue-red sorcery. And it says, draw 3 cards.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Then deal 3 damage, split how you choose among any number of targets. It's not bad. And then if
Not
you
bad.
control a Niv Mizzet, copy the next instant or sorcery that you cast. It's pretty strong. I like it. It does a lot of things that I want it to do. Some of the problems with this is that I feel like it's hard to typecast a Niv Mizzet when there's 3 different types.
That's true.
It almost feels like it needs to target a certain one, but then it's not playable in everything, so it's a little hard. Maybe if you say a blue-red dragon,
Yeah?
because it
Yeah.
could work on something like a hypersonic dragon then, but for the most part, it's only going to work on Niv Mizzet.
Yeah.
Or Intent the
And-
Dreamer, or Croesus the Purger. There's only a few.
Right. I mean, a 4 mana, draw 3 cards, and do 3 damage is very powerful. And we've seen a lot of these, name-specific cards in a lot of the pre-constructed decks that come with a Planeswalker, and they also come with cards that say, if you control this card, do this.
Yeah.
And
But-
I'm not...
We're not knocking it. We like it.
We do. It's a very powerful card, and trust
Why
me,
you're here.
blue, red, drawing cards and dealing damage, that's what it's all about. That's what Niv Mizzet is. So flavor-wise, this card is right on point. So kudos to Chris Smith and his card design on Niv Mizzet's Revenge. You are awesome.
I like it.
Yep. All right, so in second place, we have our one of our wonderful fanboys here, Echelon Mockingbird, who has designed a card. We like to call it almost the fair egg. So his card is named Chromatic Hedron. For 1 generic, it is an artifact that says tap 1, exile this permanent, draw a card, then add 1 mana of any color. And he included flavor text that says, I had no idea what I could do, but I knew I could do it. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. We love the effort and the fact that this is so close to a very playable modern card, and yet it makes itself fair in that it can't be abused through recursion because it exiles itself, makes it very curious and very fair and very printable in a standard set too. So if they were to try to reprint any one of those eggs, so to speak, then this seems like a design that could really kind of get away with it and
Yeah.
let it be playable in standard.
Yeah.
So nice job, Echelon Mockingbird, on your Chromatic Hedron design. We appreciate that. So Greg, who took it down?
So our winner is Agent MLP 412 with his design of Lord Aspen, Master of the Forest. He is a 3 green-black legendary creature deer elemental. He says other deer and elk gain +1/+1. Whenever an opponent discards a card, create a 1/2 green-black deer token. And then at the beginning of each end step, target opponent discards a card at random. We really like this. It's a
Yeah.
3-4 as well. The only
It's
thing
a
that I
4-5.
felt 4-5. Wow, it's a little
Yeah.
bigger than I thought it was. The only thing that I had an issue with this is that it's an every end step. I think I would like it better if it just did it at your end step.
Well, yeah. I mean, it definitely creates a lot of hate drawn your way.
Yeah.
Because, people like having their toys, and when you play a card like Nath, which also happens to be green and black, you're definitely not making other people at the table happy campers.
Right.
But the level of
Ire.
Yes, you create the creatures while buffing those creatures while hindering your opponent. Make this an extremely powerful card.
Yeah.
I mean, this sounds like something that would be printed in a commander pre-constructed deck. And then 5 mana for a 4/5 is already pretty beefy, plus these added bonuses. This is a very, very powerful card.
But it's not abusable.
No.
It's very few things that make this card really busted. If it had maybe like a waste not clause or something, it may be better. But no.
Oh my
I like
God.
it.
If you had waste not with this and you made all your opponents, like let's say you played what's that dark deal, and you had all your opponents discard their cards and then draw more, and you create like 20 black deer token that all get a buff, so they're all 2/3s. Ooh, man, that's crazy.
Yes, scary indeed. So
very scary indeed. So,
with that, you get to have your play set of
Merfolk Branchwalkers. There you go. An Echelon Mockingbird. You get your playset of Sakura Tribe Elders. And Chris, you get your playset of Satyr Wayfinders. So please go ahead and reach out to us with some addresses so we can send you your prizes. You can get a hold of us at thewinconditionpodcast@gmail.com. And we're gonna go ahead and just end it there, and wrap the show up.
I think so.
Let's remind everybody that this show is still brought to you by Flipside Gaming. Head to flipsidegaming.com, where any order you make over $10, use that promo code WINCONDITION in all caps. Save yourself 10% off your purchase, which will help contribute to future show giveaways. Greg, where can these fine people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter under Noob/2003, co-host of the Win Condition podcast.
And you can find me at MTG_Sean. The show is at The Win Condition. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on Twitch. Check us out on YouTube. And we love your feedback. Send us an email. Drop us a comment. Anything you want to talk about, we're more than happy to respond to.
Yes.
Hopefully, we will get back to you before 3 months. Again, we apologize for that.
I'm pretty sure we won't be hitting them up during my birthday.
No. But we got a brand new set coming out this weekend. Ravnica Allegiance is in full effect. Go out there, create some decks, have some fun, and
play that Vanifar.
Play that Vanifar. Oh, I think you need to give us a deck tech next time we come through, Greg.
I mean, we'll talk.
I'm sure you can come up with something good. Absolutely. All right. Well, all that being said, Greg, thanks again.
Always a pleasure.
And we will talk to y'all